Hey guys, hope everybody is doing well today. I'm going to open up a new discussion actually. I know this channel focuses a lot on sports card investing, but I want to make sure that I'm encompassing kind of all of the personal finance and collectibles investing piece so that we have a very well-rounded channel. That's really the goal here. So I know that I post a lot of sports card investing because that's a lot of what I do and a lot of what I'm interested in. But that is a subtopic to some of the larger discussions that we'll eventually kind of get into on this channel, and we'll always kind of keep sports card investing at the forefront. But today I'm going to talk about Silver Age comic book investing, and so I have diversified a little bit with Silver Age comics, and I have done this over the last couple of years. I think it's important, of course, just like with any sort of investment, whether it be stocks, real estate, collectibles investing, that you have a fairly diverse, grouping to where if one subset takes a hit, then at least you're kind of diversified enough to where you can balance things out. And so, for me, when I was a kid, I collected sports cards. I also collected comic books for a period of time. For my age, it was a lot of the Image comics. When I was younger, it was that early '90s Spawn, Youngblood. It was Todd McFarlane and Rob Liefeld, and a lot of those Marvel guys that came over to start Image Comics, and then Image Comics exploded in the '90s. And I believe that they are still going today with some of their own artists. It was revolutionary because those guys branched off from Marvel, and the way that they had their company set up is they were all basically individual contributors, and they all owned all of their own work and responsible for their own work underneath that Image umbrella. So it was cool how they were able to, take a more of an entrepreneurial approach to it, break off from Marvel, who was kind of that big, the big corp at the time, along with DC, and kind of create their own thing and have a lot of success doing it. So today, though, I'm going to be talking about Silver Age comics, and this period of time, Silver Age is classified as 1956 to 1970 generally. So it does encompass a lot of the early Marvel stuff. So really Marvel got started, and that's really what I'm hitting on today. I don't have any DC in my portfolio collection, but there are a lot of people. Obviously Batman, Superman really dominate DC and all their titles that surround those two characters. There's other ones as well, but those two characters really kind of dominate. They're the goats of DC Comics. Today I'm going to be talking more on the Silver Age Marvel. The early 1960s is really when you saw, the Incredible Hulk, X-Men, Avengers. That's when all of those started, all those comic books, 1962, 1963. And so I'm going to cover those. I don't have any of those books. I will go over a few that I do have, and I'll go ahead and I'll show you a few that I've got now. Okay, first one I'll show you guys. This is Marvel Superheroes number 13, and this is the first appearance of Captain Marvel. So as the movie was about to come out for Captain Marvel, I picked up a few of these. This one is CGC 3.5. You can see it at the top. CGC is the main grader for comic books. And so this goes all the way up to 10, although 10s are really impossible to find, if there are any at all. 9.8 is really the 10. It's the pristine, grade, and that's really what everyone is looking for, the 9.8. And it breaks down different from sports cards where you'll get a PSA 8, 9, 10, maybe you'll get an 8.5 or a BGS 9.5. This will actually go up by 0.2. It'll be 9.0, 9.2, 9.4, 9.6, 9.8, and then down as well. And then it'll go from 9 to 8.5 and then 8. And so it does go down by halves at that point, but they break it down actually even more than sports card grading. So interesting there. So that's the first one. Let me see if I can grab another one here. This is Marvel Superheroes number 18, and this is a CGC 5.0. This is the first appearance, as you can guess, the first appearance of Guardians of the Galaxy. So again, with the movies and everything kind of taking off, the movies are so awesome. I just figured, first appearance of theirs is, it would be kind of a must-have, for my collection, for my portfolio. Another one that I picked up is Star Wars #1. This is a 9.4 Star Wars #1. And this is, as you probably figure, it is the first issue of Star Wars. And again, with that just being kind of the highest grossing, well, I don't know if it's highest grossing, but you could argue that it is the most popular movie set of trilogies ever made, especially for the sci-fi, type division of things. There's not any that have made more money than Star Wars and just been as impactful on pop culture. So that's why that issue in particular, not a super expensive issue. None of these are really, but just kind of one of those that I think over time, could appreciate. And then I've got, this is one of my more favorite ones. This is Fantastic Four #52, and it's 6.0 in CGC. This is first appearance of Black Panther, as you probably guessed, right here. And again, an iconic issue. A lot of the Stan Lee creations were happening during the Civil Rights era, so there are a lot of kind of connections between what was happening in the world and the characters that were in his comic books. So I think over time that only gives it more validity, and I think that they're just good long-term holds for me. So as far as comic books go, I don't invest really at all in modern comic books. I think, as far as collecting goes, absolutely. And if you just enjoy reading them, then for sure, there's a lot of really good newer titles that have come out. It's just, for me, I'm just looking at it strictly from an investment standpoint. Obviously, with them being encased, I can't read these anymore. And so I really stay away from modern books. There are a lot of people that do invest in modern books and that probably have better advice as to, or a better kind of look into, investing in modern books. It's just not me. And I don't, that might change, who knows, down the road. But for me, I'm just going to focus on, I guess you could say, the vintage, comic books, the Silver Age stuff, or maybe the Golden Age stuff. There's Bronze Age stuff as well, that I like. That's some of the stuff from the 80s and some of the stuff from the early 90s, I believe, is probably considered Bronze Age too. And that's like, an example would be first appearance of Carnage, in Amazing Spider-Man 361. But that's, there's a movie coming out with Carnage in it. So a lot of, what drives comic book pricing are shows and movies. And so a big reason why I've looked at diversifying, or why I'm bringing this up especially today, is comic books have been rising steadily over the last, I would say, 2, 3, 4 years, especially with all the Marvel movies having so much success, the DC movies having so much success, has pushed up pricing because demand is higher. Now people are looking at these like, wow, look at these movies are exploding. Well, right now there's no movies, so we're having kind of a lull in entertainment in general because of COVID. So I have seen with some of these books, the prices have sagged some compared to where they were. So if you're someone that is looking to get in, now could be a good time, just because it's been on such an upward trend, over the last few years because of all the success of the movies. It could be a good time to at least peek in and see, there's certain books like Iron Man #1. I believe that one came out in 1967 or 68. But again, depending on what grade you're looking at for Iron Man #1, there's all sorts of price points. You could get one as low as a few $100s, and of course then they go up into the tens of thousands if you're getting a pristine mint copy of it. But again, if you believe it's an iconic character that's going to be around, Spider-Man, Batman, Superman, all of these characters are entrenched in pop culture and have been for the last 30, 40, 50 years, a lot of them, and so for me, I feel very comfortable putting some money into it. And also, with comics, it technically is a piece of artwork because artists are creating the comic book. So it is, for me, it's pop culture art, so is every comic book worth investing in? No, I don't believe so. There's a lot, just like with sports cards, just like with stamps, coins, or anything else, stocks for that matter, real estate. Not every property, not every stock, not every comic book or sports card is worth putting money into or will be a good long-term investment. But if we're looking at blue chip, these types of characters, Black Panther, X-Men, Spider-Man, like I mentioned, these are, to me, they're fairly safe long-term investments, long-term holds. Now, if you're looking at flipping within 12 months on these, you might have some movement, but, it would take kind of an extreme kind of, news article or a new movie that's coming out, some big excitement, some hype behind a character to do it, and it's difficult at times to guess which characters, that's going to be, like which villain is going to be in that next movie. And even if there is a big time villain in a movie or something, or a new character, that doesn't necessarily mean that there's going to be a massive spike where a comic book doubles or triples in the same way that you'll see with sports cards or maybe some of the other things. So I wanted to make this video because it's important, I think, to just diversify. And a lot of people, I think, that are collectors and investors, they are looking at all sorts of different things. Or if you're not as comfortable with like stock market and real estate, you're a little finicky and like, hey, where can I diversify my money into something different that I think maybe could be cool and worth something worth more appreciate down the road? Well, Silver Age comic books is a fairly established market in collectibles investing. One good website as a resource is gocollect.com. What I really like is it gives you, it compiles a lot of data. So what it'll do, kind of like with PSA pop reports for sports cards, they have essentially a CGC pop report. So for example, Fantastic Four number 52, first appearance of Black Panther, it'll go right down the line and show you how many have been graded at every different level, whether it be a 1.0 or a 10.0. And it'll show you how scarce it is. You'd be surprised how scarce a lot of these books are in comparison to sports cards. These pop reports are the population's very low on a lot of these as far as graded comic books go. So, it's one of those things where if demand all of a sudden floods into this thing, there's just not that many of these, which would push up pricing, assuming that law of supply and demand. So, GoCollect.com. They also provide a fair market value. They do compile eBay sold listings and sold listings. I think they take from auction houses as well, but it'll give you an idea of price points for each, and then you can cross-reference with eBay sold listings. But for me, it's just extremely valuable because I can see a price on eBay. I can look at completed sold listings, but if there's some sort of glitch or there's some sort of an outlier or something weird, I can go to GoCollect and it's compiling a lot of different sales for me at different levels. And so that's an easy way to just see what fair market value is very, very quickly. Guys, thanks for joining me for this video. This is just kind of an introductory, why I'm investing in Silver Age comic. Hopefully this video is helpful just in if this is something you haven't looked into before, could be worth taking a dive into. And that, like I said, that website, gocollect.com, it does offer a lot of really great data points to where if you want to get in for a specific character, specific first appearance, that would be a good resource for you. So comment below if you have any questions, if you have any other video topics that you would like covered within collectibles investing or personal finance for that matter. I'm happy to take a look at it. Like I said, this is going to be a very well-rounded channel where we're going to hit on sports card investing, comic book investing, other types of collectibles investing, and how all that ties into your personal finance, everyone's individual personal finance plan. So anyway, hope everyone's having a great day, and we will talk to you again soon. Take care.